Should be live here. Give some time for people to get in here. Feeling good today. I like Phoenix. And I think lineups are going to be. It's there's a lot of ways to go just because of how qualifying ended up. We got. I think there's quite a few things that people are going to be forgetting about when it comes to practice speeds. Simply because we got. We had practice on Friday and then we had qualifying on Saturday, which isn't the typical. I got my Trackhouse shirt on, by the way. I'm all in on Ross Chastain today. But we had practice Friday, qualifying Saturday, and teams got to adjust between those two, the practice session and the qualifying session. And that's not typical. So because of this new package, NASCAR allowed teams to switch things up or allowed them to change things if they wanted to. But DFS players have that mentality of, we only have the practice data to go off of. So that's what we're going to work with. So I think we can leverage that with some different plays than what makes full sense. So Christopher Bell is obviously super fast. In practice, best 15 lap, best 20 lap, best 25 lap, best 30 lap average. Christopher Bell looked awesome. Toyotas overall look awesome. This is their track type. This is Joe Gibbs Racing, best track type. Toyota's going to be good. Christopher Bell's going to be good. He had a top 5, if not winning car here last fall. Had that brake issue. Denny Hamlin's on the pole. Another Toyota. Look pretty good in practice. 5th and 20 lap average. The biggest thing for Hamlin is, do you play him or not from the pole? Being on the pole here is such an advantage at Phoenix because it is so hard to pass here, especially with this new package. Like, drivers are saying that it's even harder this year with these changes than it was last year. So that's going to be a problem when it comes to place differential. So Hamlin has the advantage there. Plus, he has that number 1 pit stall, which if you listen to Steve Letarte on whatever podcast he was on earlier this week, he mentioned Phoenix, the number 1 pit stall in Phoenix is such an advantage because you have such little distance from the pit stall to the timing line. So you pretty much, your pit crew's done and you're off pit road. So with Hamlin and how fast his pit crew is, that is a major advantage because they can make up spots on pit road where if they need to, or they can maintain the lead on pit road simply because of their pit stall and how fast they are. Hamlin has one of the fastest pit crews in the Cup Series. So major advantage there for Hamlin. Obviously, short flat tracks are a good track type for him. So it's very hard not to play Denny Hamlin. I know my projections are a little bit low on Hamlin. Just looking at them, I think they're a little bit low. Obviously, it's still going to get him in there, but they are a little bit low. Christopher Bell, awesome play there, starting 13th. The 3 highest price guys, I'm not sure we have to play them this week. We got Larson starting 17th, Blaney starting 16th, and Byron starting 5th. So Larson starting 17th, Blaney starting 16th. That would typically be great plays at Phoenix. Brian Blaney's probably the best driver at Phoenix right now. Kyle Larson's always up there. There's place differential. But I don't even know if we get to them this week because of how the rest of qualifying ended up. Because they don't really have that dominator potential. Obviously, I think there's a decent chance that they can get into that optimal. But are they worth those mid $11,000 salaries? I'm not sure we get there. I really don't. Got some comments rolling in. Good morning. Yeah, good morning. That's time change. Is this time change messed anybody else up? I'm a little groggy this morning. I was out kind of late last night though, so. But I woke up and immediately I'm ready for Phoenix. I used to hate Phoenix. Phoenix, from a fantasy perspective, I used to not be able to figure Phoenix out. I've always been pretty good betting here. But fantasy, I went through a lull there where I just wasn't good in DFS, and then last couple years I've gotten better. I'm definitely good. Heck yeah, I'm ready for this race. I'm so ready for this race. I think we're gonna have a good one. So getting back to these drivers, Logano, before qualifying, we were talking about him. Hey, he could probably dominate this race. He looked great in practice. Second and 15 lap average, second and 20 lap average. And then he went out, and typically he qualifies well, and he qualifies 23rd. This should be a slam dunk with Logano. But I feel like not a lot of people are talking about Logano because we're focusing on the Toyotas. So while I do think Logano is going to be pretty high owned at 9,500, he's like overall, he has a smash play. He loves Phoenix. This is his track type. He struggled here last year, but the fact that he was so fast in practice, you have to like Logano. Yeah, you always have to worry about Denny speeding. What's funny is I think Chastain has 2 speeding penalties this year, both at Atlanta and Las Vegas, and then there's quite a few people that have gotten caught speeding more than Denny this year. But yeah, you always have to worry about Denny speeding. Always an issue there. If Hamlin has the advantage, is Gibbs just as good? And being 8K, maybe he's a bit shaky. Gibbs, obviously, Gibbs is always hard to analyze here because he doesn't have a ton. We obviously don't have a ton of history with Ty Gibbs. He's quite new to the Cup Series, and he's had a lot of bad luck early on in his Cup Series career, which is also taking the like people aren't thinking of Ty Gibbs as a great pick. We just saw it last week. Like, Nick and I talked about, hey, Ty Gibbs could potentially win at Las Vegas. Love him as top 10, top 5. People are like, why are you liking Ty Gibbs? His record's not good here. He's a very good driver. He has a fast car. I don't know if he has the dominator potential though, because to me, I think it's going to be super hard to pass Hamlin. I don't know if Gibbs is going to. I'm not really looking at Gibbs as a pivot. I like other pivots in that range, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Gibbs starts a little bit higher than I'd like. Obviously, starting second, he has a good. There's quite a few people in here. Hello, everybody. Let's keep going. Let's get some good discussion today. I like this. Obviously, Ty Gibbs starts second. Starts a little too high for me. I just don't see the dominator potential. Obviously, you need some exposure, in case Hamlin does have an issue, but I don't see that happening. And then, like, if I'm going alternate or a different dominator there, I'm probably going Reddick starting 6th. Maybe you want to go Byron there if you want. Not really loving Chase Elliott, but to me, this is how I see the race playing out in my head. Hamlin leads the however long, maybe the first stage. I think Chastain gets up there. Like I'm all in on Chastain today. I think Bell gets up there. Those are my main dominators that I'm looking at. I think it's Hamlin number 1, Chastain, Bell tied for number 2, and then probably Reddick number 4 is most likely dominator. So that's where I'm at. In that price range. If I'm going to pivot in that price range instead of Ty Gibbs, I'm probably going Chase Briscoe. Obviously Bubba Wallace is kind of the chalk play there. And then if you read Nick's article over on Fantasy Labs, he talked about Daniel Suarez as his Paul Menard pick of the week. I really like that as well. Suarez is sneaky good at Phoenix. He has top 10s here. Obviously, Trackhouse was very good. Chastain dominated this race last fall. So, I definitely like Suarez there if you're trying to get off that Bubba Wallace chalk. And then Bowman, he should be like a mid-teens driver at the end of the day. He starts 25th. If he can get up to 15th, he's a decent play there at 7,500, starting 25th. He wasn't flashy in practice. Another team that was not good in practice was Richard Childress Racing. Overall, Kyle Busch was not very good. Austin Dillon was even worse. Here's the thing, though. Austin Dillon is the more I looked at it this morning, I kind of like Austin Dillon sitting in that $6,800 price tag. I can make some lineups with him that I really like. He has a good history here, and that's the thing. So if anybody in here don't know me. I've never been a big Ross Chastain fan. I've never been a big Austin Dillon fan, and those might be two of my favorite picks today. Dillon obviously didn't show speed, but like I said, these teams were able to adjust between Friday and Saturday. Austin Dillon hasn't finished worse than 21st here since 2020, and that's because he wrecked. Like, he starts back in 30th, 6,800. You really don't need him to even get into the teens, which is where he typically finishes. I'm honestly an Austin Dillon fan, especially if you want to get off that Josh Berry chalk. Obviously Josh Berry had that issue in qualifying. He wrecked in qualifying. He's starting dead last. He's in, like, I like the upside of Josh Berry. Don't get me wrong. He has Rodney Childers as his crew chief. Kevin Harvick was insanely good here at Phoenix. Childers said that Berry could have or would have made the second round of qualifying if he would have got his lap in. I don't remember. I wasn't watching that closely when it happened. I don't remember if he was actually tracking to do that. But if Childers says it, Childers tends to tell the truth. So, Josh Berry, obviously chalk play there. If you're looking for cash, an easy cash play, Josh Berry at 7,200. I hate that price. Hate the price, but you can fit him in this week with where everybody else. Austin Dillon seems to be in all the lineups you've won the most money on. I'm like that. That's me and the Penske drivers. So, like, most of my biggest wins, because I went back and looked at all of my biggest wins in DFS, and I think like 90% of them had either, it was when Keselowski was still with Penske, it had either Blaney or Keselowski on it. Like, it's just something about it. Penske is one of those teams where their ownerships typically get a little bit lower depending on the track type, just because they don't have that dominator potential. So that's where, if you're overweight on them, then that. But yeah, Austin Dillon, I can see that happening. And it makes you, it weirdly makes you like those guys a little bit more, because they've made you a lot of money in the past. But I think Austin Dillon's a sneaky play today. I haven't seen a lot of people talking about him. And the more I was looking at it this morning and messing around, I like Austin Dillon. Kyle Busch penalty last week screwed you. Yeah, last week I'm still frustrated. If you were in here on the live stream last week, I was talking, my core drivers that I liked were Larson, Chastain, Reddick, and Gregson, and I just couldn't put it all together in high dollar. Like, my lineups in Minimax crushed. I think I did over 2x return on that. But for some reason, high dollar, I just couldn't freaking get it together. I'm still frustrated about that, but can't be mad. My projections were good. I was dumb hand building lineups there. Let's see some questions I might have missed. Bubba and Zane, Gilliland, or Bowman Cindric. Is there any way you can get? I mean, obviously you can't get Bubba and Cindric. That's where I'd probably end up, though. That's where a lot of my lineups are ending up, is Bubba and Cindric. Bubba looked good in practice. Bowman is I'd say Bubba definitely has higher upside. He was like fringe top 10 on short flat tracks last year. So Bowman, I'm not seeing the speed this year or overall, and just Phoenix is not a great track for Alex Bowman. So I think the ceiling for Bowman is, mid-teens. Ceiling for Bubba is, on a good day, is probably, top 10. Let me check how far apart I got these two. Bubba, Bowman. It's pretty much a toss-up, I'd say. I'm not a big fan of Zane, definitely not a big fan of Gilliland today, so I'd probably go Bowman Cindric between those two. But I'm probably ending up, I'll build a lineup here quick where I'm ending up on Bubba and Cindric instead of Bowman and Cindric. RFK, stay away. No, I don't think so. I didn't see anything that makes me want to stay away from RFK this week. My philosophy with this next gen car is, we know what we're working with. We know what happened last race, and things do not change that much with this car. So this is why I'm so heavy, and I've been heavy on. As soon as betting lines dropped this week, I bet Ross Chastain. He opened at 12-1. I bet him immediately because he was so good here, so good on the long run here, and his car looked great on the long run in practice this Friday too. I don't know. A few books have Chastain, I think, like tied for, top 5 when it comes to betting odds today. To me, I don't. I think Hamlin's definitely the favorite. Bell's up there, but to me, Chastain is right with those two. I love Chastain today. So RFK, Chris Buescher arguably had the second best car, maybe the best car if he got some track position last fall. You look at practice speeds, Keselowski 9th and 20 lap average. Buescher was, where's he at? 10th and 15 lap average. So as good as Buescher was on these short flats last year, I like Buescher a lot today. I do. I think he can get it done. I actually bet him for top 10 at plus 140, I think. I like Buescher. And then Keselowski, Keselowski struggled a little bit more than Buescher this year. I like Buescher more than Kes, but obviously Keselowski starts 4 places further back. So there's potential there to roll with Kes, just to play more place differential upside. So most likely winners of the race. I think Hamlin's the favorite, should be the favorite. He's most favorite at most books. Bell's up there. Ross Chastain is up there. And to me, those are probably the 3 favorites. I think they're a step above everybody else. So Hamlin, Bell, Chastain, I think is a step above everybody else. I think Reddick's a sneaky guy that could steal a win, not steal a win, but he finished third here in this race last year. So Reddick, I think, is solid. You can never really count out Kyle Larson, even though he qualified so far back. Blaney, you can never count out at Phoenix. I don't think he has a dominant car, but you can't count him out. Same with Logano. Logano looked great in practice. You can't count out those 2 guys. So, but yeah, definitely Hamlin, Bell, and Chastain are above everybody else, in my opinion. Nemechek playable, absolutely. Toyotas they're so good this week. Obviously Nemechek had, I think he was top 10 speed, if I remember right. Let me pull up the actual practice chart here real quick. Of course, it's not going to be easy to find. Yeah, Nemechek was, what am I thinking here? Oh, yeah, he was 4th fastest practice. I definitely think he's playable. 3rd and 10 lap average. I think Nemechek's definitely playable. We'll go ahead. Let's start building a lineup. One more question here. Do I like LaJoie? I do not like LaJoie today. I know he starts 35th. I know he's decently priced at 6,300. The thing is, he's not good at Phoenix. Corey LaJoie is not good at Phoenix. Let me pull up his record here at Phoenix real quick. Like he's awful at Phoenix. And I know that those Spire cars, like Hocevar has speed. Zane Smith is decently fast this week, but LaJoie is just not good at this racetrack. I'm probably going to eat my words here, by the way. But last year, 31st, 26th. He did finish 18th in the fall race here in 2022 in this next gen car. Kind of an outlier here because his other race he finished 36th. I don't see LaJoie getting up there. I'd rather have Cindric. Cindric actually showed speed this weekend. LaJoie has just kind of been junk ever since they unloaded. And I just don't see him improving. This isn't his best track type. Todd Gilliland, I don't like this week. I do not. He's also not very good here. Did have a 19th here in the spring race in his first start, but 3 races since then, 29th, 32nd, and 30th. So he's likely going to have to rely on attrition to get anywhere, to move up anywhere. So I don't think you have to go under 6,000 this week. So that's where I'm at with Gilliland. I'm not really getting to Gilliland, and that's why. And I also think he starts 29th, and I think he's about a 29th place car without a bunch of wrecks happening, which probably isn't going to happen here at Phoenix. So not a big fan of Gilliland today. I'm really not. I'd rather jump up. I'd rather get up, obviously, Cindric, Nemechek, and in that range, and I think that's where you end up. But let's start building lineups here. That's what we're here for, right? Get this up here. All right. So obviously, Denny Hamlin on the pole has that advantage with number 1 pit stall. Toyota, he's fast. This is his track type. I think you start with Denny Hamlin. Throw Denny Hamlin on this lineup here. Like I said, I'm locked in on Ross Chastain today. I think you have to go. You go Ross. I think Bubba's a chalk play. So let's throw Bubba on there. And then obviously Cindric down at 6,200. These are some of the best plays on this slate, in my opinion. Gives you $8,300 to work with. Now, if you go with someone, I think you can go a couple ways here. Obviously, Bell was super fast in practice. This is his track type. Joe Gibbs Racing should be great here. There's also Logano sitting there, 9,500. And then you have Kyle Busch at 92, which we should have quite a bit of Kyle Busch. He's very good here. They were just garbage in practice. I might be overreacting, but I kind of like everybody else better. And right now, I'm not particularly on Kyle Busch as much as I should be. So right now, I'm going to go. Let's throw a Bell on there. Leaves us $6,600. You can go John Hunter Nemechek. I think this is a pretty good lineup here. Hamlin, Bell, Chastain. You got 3 guys that could win this race. Bubba Wallace, who showed good speed in practice. You know, Bubba was top 5 in 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 lap average. He was good. Fringe top 10 at most short flat tracks last year. Bubba starting 22nd. I think he is a very good pick today. So I like that. Like I said, there's other ways you can go in that price range. You can go down to Suarez. You can grab Bowman, but I'm going to go Bubba. And then John Hunter Nemechek and Austin Cindric to cap it off. I think this is a very safe lineup. I don't think this is worldly, like taking it down, but I do think this is a safe lineup. And I think this is a good build to start with and gets, a lot of these good drivers in there. So we got Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace, Austin Cindric, and John Hunter Nemechek. I'm going to go ahead and lock that lineup in right now. If it'll save, there we go. And okay, let's do we'll do a little variation here. So last lineup was Hamlin, Bell, Chastain, Bubba, Nemechek, and Cindric. Leaves you $100. You can cut Bubba off. Kind of risky here going Chase Briscoe, but he does have, I think, 3 top 10s in 4 next gen starts at Phoenix. So this is definitely a tournament lineup. It's a very minor pivot going off of chalk Bubba Wallace to tournament play Briscoe. 3 top 7s at Phoenix in the next gen car in 4 races. He won here in 2022. Briscoe actually looked decent in practice. It seemed like his car was getting better as the run went on. 29th and 10 lap average, went up to 18th best, 15 lap average, 10th best, and 20 lap average. But his fall offs were not as much as you'd probably expect. So just a minor pivot off of that other lineup. I'm going to go ahead and go with Briscoe over Bubba and just keep everything else the same. Few lineups that you like that you leave a lot of salary. What's a lot of salary? I'm curious because typically, like now that we're out of super speedway races, most lineups you're going to want to be targeting to use most of that cap. So let me know how much salary you're. Reddick and Bowman over Bell and Cindric. I mean, I'd hope so, but that's a Oh, I read that wrong. Reddick Bowman over Bell Cindric. I could see that. So that's another note. You know, I said practice. People might be overreacting to practice. Here's the thing with Christopher Bell. He tends to okay, I got you, Kurt. I got you now. We're on the same page. Christopher Bell tends to disappoint in races. And he's honestly never really figured out Phoenix. He has 0 top 5s here. As much as we talk about Christopher Bell being this world-class flat track racer, he has 0 top 5s at this racetrack. He's also never led a single lap here. So now you have Bell with a decent, like a disappointing qualifying effort, decently priced to fit in lineups, and super fast in practice. You know what that tells me is going to happen? A lot of people are going to be on Christopher Bell this week. And don't get me wrong, I like Christopher Bell. I have him projected quite high this week. But here's also the thing. If I'm trying to get aggressive in lineup in tournaments, I'm definitely considering going underweight on Christopher Bell because of just everything I said. I understand he looks great, but things can change. People could have made gains on Christopher Bell over practice. He could not get the track. Maybe he doesn't get the track position to actually lead. Maybe he doesn't even get up there and lead a bunch of laps, which is kind of what you need at that $10,000 price point in DraftKings. I don't see him getting a ton of fastest laps. It's not something that Christopher Bell typically does. So yeah, I'm not sitting here to say fade Christopher Bell, but if you want to get aggressive today, I think that's a stand that you can consider taking, is getting a little bit off of Christopher Bell and maybe going down. Like, you don't have to get crazy. You can just come down to Logano, save $500 and have that to work with. Or like Kurt said, go with a Reddick Bowman, and then you're also off the chalk of Cindric. So yeah, I'm with you, Kurt. I don't hate that at all. So let's put that lineup together. Let's go Hamlin, Chastain, Reddick, Bowman, Bubba Wallace, and then we get. So this is the lineup I ended up this morning that made me like Austin Dillon. Hamlin, Chastain, Reddick, Bowman, Wallace, Austin Dillon. And then you can come down then and do one with Nemechek. You can do one with Cindric. There's a lot of ways you can go here. Yeah, next gen cars at Phoenix, it's been Ford and Chevy optimal. Now that Toyota are the best in practice, there should be at least 2 optimal. Yeah, Toyotas look. I think Toyota is. I see you, Nick. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just like, it's probably the contrarian brain in me, but if I'm going to take a stand today, I'm going to go off of Bell. And I'll regret it. I'll probably regret it. And I'm not sitting here saying that Bell isn't a good pick. I wrote him up in my article. I have him projected high. Bell is a good pick. Don't get me wrong. But I can see in single entries, in single entries especially, I can see getting off of Bell, and I probably will. I like this lineup overall, though, especially if you like Reddick as an alternate dominator. I like this. If you want to get off of Bell, I like this type of build right here. And we can mess around here and get off of Bowman as well if we want. So Ross Chastain, Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace, Alex Bowman, and Austin Dillon. Again, Austin Dillon's one of those guys, garbage in practice, garbage in qualifying, but good track record, and I'm hoping that they just found something or did something between practice and qualifying. Yeah, Bell was half a track ahead of most other guys in the test after 40 laps, and that continued. Yeah, and that continued in practice. Yeah, I get it. No, I get it, Nick. It's I'm not saying it's smart. I'm just saying it's. I think there's an opportunity there, and maybe you're relying, if you're going against Bell, you're obviously probably relying on something happening to him. Yeah, Gibbs as a contrarian dominator, I'm just not there on him. I probably should be, but was not good in practice. Obviously, he has the Joe Gibbs racing to it. I just don't see him getting ahead of Hamlin. To get ahead of Hamlin, I think he's going to need. My phone's in the other room, Nick. Damn it! Can I bet on desktop? But no, going back to Gibbs, I just don't. I think he's going to have a significantly better car than Hamlin to get there. And if Hamlin does do something dumb like speeding or something on pit road to happen, or he blows a tire leading, I think someone else is going to be there ahead of Gibbs at that time to dominate, whether it's Chastain or Reddick or Bell. So that's kind of where I'm not there on Gibbs. Yeah. So here's the thing. Like if I'm having many Fords, I'm probably going to go, like, obviously the RFK guys. I think there's room there to get with them or get them in there. Logano is good price, but I'm not getting up to Blaney. I don't see the dominator potential. I like Briscoe as a slightly overweight play. I think Briscoe can surprise today. Starts quite high, isn't optimally priced. There's so many other good guys in that price range. Like Nick said in his article, Suarez is a good pivot in that price range. I wish Eric Jones didn't start fourth. I like Eric Jones today. I think he can run top 10, but starting fourth, I don't think he's playable. So, and McDowell, I think McDowell can go top 15. I'm kind of upset about myself. I know Nick and I talked about it earlier this week. I was about to nuke McDowell under 21.5 finishing position and decided against it. And now I wish I did. I think McDowell's going to be a solid, top 15 car today, but not getting to him in DFS. Going back to this lineup without Bell, with Hamlin, Chastain, Reddick, Bubba, Bowman. So if we come down here and grab Cindric, that gets us to 81, which does not get us up to where I wanted to get. I was hoping we could get Buescher in that line. Could come out and grab. So if you take Bowman out and go Suarez, still 200 less. I was hoping to get up to Barry. If you didn't want to go Reddick and you go Buescher here, not as sexy of a line, but if you think Hamlin dominates a lot of this race and Chastain gets up there, yeah, this isn't popping as me as a great line, but I'm still going to put it in there. Just to have a little differentiator. I want one race where the Stuart Haas guy doesn't end up mega chalk because they can't keep control of their car in practice or qualifying. Yeah, Barry, slow start this year. Obviously, he has Childers as his crew chief. Great history here with Kevin Harvick. What was it, 21 straight top 10s? Like, Harvick was there's no such thing as a guarantee in fantasy NASCAR, but when it comes to top 10s in Phoenix, Kevin Harvick was a guarantee. What I really like about Barry today, obviously, he has all the upside in the world starting 36th. He has Childers as his crew chief. Decent, he showed about 20th 22nd place speed in practice. But what I like is Childers said that he was going to, like, Barry would have made the second round of qualifying if he would have got his lap in. So that tells me that if Childers likes the car and Barry was showing speed, we should probably like Josh Berry starting 36th. The price isn't great, but you can definitely get there in lineups. And yeah, so Barry, yeah, I think Barry's a very safe pick this week. And you should, I mean, he's going to be probably one of the highest owned on the slate, obviously starting dead last. Need the 1 8 to 10% driver. The rest can be chalky. Agree. And to me, there's quite a few options you can go in a lot of different price ranges this week. So if Nick's still in here, I'd like to hear your thoughts on not putting Hamlin in a lineup and how dumb that is, if you're still in here. Pricing is rough this week. It is, but it isn't. I feel like you can land a decent build, not too difficult. There's definitely a few lineups where I wish I had an extra 100 or 200, but like Logano's underpriced to where even if he didn't qualify bad, Logano's kind of underpriced to where he should be at Phoenix. Chastain definitely underpriced. Reddick has upside there, underpriced. So I think there's quite a few. I like it. I love not putting Hamlin in lineups. I'd rather not put Hamlin in than not put Bell in. So yeah, my optimal projected this week, actually, I need to double check this, but I'm 90% sure that it does not have Hamlin in it. And I was a bit surprised. Like I said, my projections are a little bit under where I think they should be on Denny Hamlin, but I was surprised by that when I ran my projections in the optimizer. And I think 3 of the top 5 still had Hamlin in it, but I'm pretty sure my optimal didn't. Yeah, so my optimal is pretty chalk. It's a lot of place differential. Oh, there's a statement. Gibbs gonna pass Hamlin early, so you're on the Gibbs is a good pivot play. Okay. Non-Hamlin build I did was Larson, Busch, Hocevar, Priest, Reddick, Briscoe. I honestly, no offense, but I don't like that lineup at all. I'm not sure who your dominator is going to be. Maybe Reddick, but Reddick doesn't really have a history of dominating here. You're off of Bell, you're off of Chastain. Busch not fast at all this week. He's probably on a good day at Phoenix. Busch is a 8th place car, and I don't think he has that car today. So I'm not telling you what to do, but I'd probably switch that one up a little bit. Larson's obviously very good here. I don't know if he has a dominant car, but definitely has a solid top 10, if not top 5 car today. But Busch, yeah, and Hocevar, I think he starts way too high. I'd rather go another way there. That's a good point. I keep forgetting about the Clash because that was the one that got moved, and I was working that night and I wasn't able to watch it, and I was in the middle of being sick, and yeah. So that's a good point. I get you. I'm going to stand strong on Ty Gibbs, but just for the record, so I can come back and clip this later. Nick thinks that Gibbs is a good pivot, and Nick is obviously someone that I respect a lot in this space. So you got 2 different opinions here. Me not on Gibbs as a pivot, and Nick likes him. So all 4 next gen Phoenix Optimals have the pole sitter. Yeah, it's such an advantage at this racetrack to be on the pole and to have that number 1 pit stall. You don't need to have the best car, and if it's hard to pass here, that just adds another. If it's harder to pass with this package, that just adds another layer to it. So, it's going to be. I want to be low on him. Like I want to be low on Hamlin, but at the same time, I know I probably shouldn't because of that. I can't really talk myself out of Hamlin today on a lot of lineups. But like I said, my optimal does not have Hamlin on it. Non-optimal, non-Hamlin build. Let me put this in here so I can kind of look at it more. Chastain, Reddick. I like it already just looking at this. Bell, Gibbs, Barry, Suarez. Yeah. Dang, that is a good lineup, Josh. Too many starting 15th or forward. Probably not a Suarez line there, Josh. I like it. I personally do, but that's me. But I understand. I also understand that there's, not a ton of place differential there outside of Barry. So you're kind of with that line, you're kind of hoping everything kind of stays the same. Yeah, streak will end sooner or later. Yeah. But will it end today? And this is in regards to the pole sitter being in all 4 optimals in the next gen. Will it end today? I don't know. I am going to put this one in, though, just because I'm interested to see how it does. Chastain, Reddick, Bell. Ty Gibbs, Josh Berry, and Daniel Suarez. So, Nick, I'd like to hear your thoughts on do you need to go like a Reddick? If you don't go Hamlin, do you think you can get away with going with a Reddick over Gibbs and building that way and relying on like a Bell Chastain type build like that? So my optimal projected here goes Bell, Logano, Chastain, Bubba, Barry, and Cindric, which, like I said, this is a super chalk line here. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think you can. I don't really hate this line. To me, like this isn't gonna take anything down, but it's quite a bit of place differential in there. You just gotta hope that Chastain or Bell get up there and lead quite a bit. Interesting. Yeah, I know. When I looked at your article, we're quite on the same page on a lot of stuff overall. Obviously, we have some different opinions here and there, but overall, we are very close on where we're at today, which is always a good thing. And I know I'm like Ross is. I'm high on Ross everywhere, so. So Hamlin in for Joey, and then Reddick for Ross. I don't think that can do it. Not enough cap. Could go Busher there, though. I think we did a lineup like that already. So if you go Hamlin, Logano, damn it, it's going to be $100 off, ain't it? Oh, okay. Yeah, so yours went Belham. This is all Toyota. All Toyota. Yeah, John Hunter Nemechek. I like that. It's obviously solid lineup here. And you could also get off of Bubba and go up to Busher if you wanted. I'm going to put both those in, actually. Give me some lineups without Chastain in there. Hamlin, Bell, Reddick, Bubba Wallace, John Hunter Nemechek, and Austin Cindric. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I'm locking that lineup in. We'll get there eventually. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I think that's pretty similar to mine, right? So yours was Hamlin, Bell, Chastain, Bubba, Nemechek, yeah, Cindric, which I think is what we started off this stream with. Yeah, there we go. Hamlin, Bell, Bubba, yeah. And I think let me pull up these lineups quick. Yeah. Yeah, that was the first lineup. I don't know when you got in here, Nick. That was the first lineup we did. And I think it's because you and I talked about it last night. Throw these. I'm just looking at my top projected lineups today to refresh my memory. Yeah, so that's my 1, 2. I think that's like my 5th projected lineup or 6th. I'm going to put this one in. Chastain, Bell, Hamlin, Bowman, Austin Dillon. Doesn't have the upside of Bubba, but if something happens to Bubba, I think Bowman's a decent mid-teens finisher. And I already talked about Austin Dillon. Do I like any Bowman today? I love Bubba Wallace in that price range. I think Bowman is Bubba has the higher upside. He's faster. He was better at this track type last year. They both have place differential potential. Bubba starting 22nd, Bowman starting 25th. To me, Bowman's on a good day, Bowman ends up 12th or 13th. On a bad day, Bowman ends up 18th or 20th. And you're probably not going to get much outside of those. Whereas, a good day, Bubba Wallace, he's challenging in the top 10. So definitely, I think Bubba's a better play than Bowman. I don't hate Bowman. But he doesn't have the speed this year, and he's never quite figured out Phoenix. You look at his track record here. He had that one race where he used Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car when Dale Earnhardt Jr. was stupid fast here, and he led a bunch of laps from the pole. And everyone, people still talk about that, obviously, because he was very good in that race. Finished 6th, led 194 laps. He has one top 10 since. And a bunch of teens finishes. He finished 9th in this race last year. That was a good race for him. Didn't see the speed out of him this weekend to get there. So I'm thinking he has a very similar race to where he's been at in the fall, or where he was at in the fall race. He had a driver rating of 61.5, finished 17th. That's probably where he ends up today. So Okay. Who are your three least comfortable with rostering above 6K? So I'm assuming, are you saying in that like 6 to 7K price range? I'm assuming just by your question, your question and follow up. Or are you talking overall least uncomfortable? In that 6 to 7K, Cindric, I think, is my least uncomfortable. And then I'd probably go, oh, all salaries. Oh. Least uncomfortable. Chastain, Bell. Probably toss up between Hamlin and Logano. Chastain, Bell, Hamlin or Logano. To me, yeah, this race comes down to those three. So those are my favorites. The only reason I have a little bit of hesitancy on Hamlin is maybe he doesn't dominate as much as I think, but I still like him a ton. So yeah, that's where I'm at. We got quite a few people in here. This is fun. Just tweeting out a link again. If you're watching, make sure you get my DraftKings contest for today. It's $10 to enter. I tweeted it. I'll tweet it again. Make sure you get in there. Always competitive, very fun. And it's just a fun little contest. One second. Okay. Let's see here. Infinite Kyle Busch on SaberSim. Interesting. I mean, his price is, when I started this stream, I was talking about I'm probably not on Kyle Busch as much as I should be. I mean, the guy starts 31st. He's underpriced for where he should be at Phoenix. But here's the thing. Like, RCR has been absolute dog shit this weekend. Like, they have not really shown any speed at all. And obviously they had that time between practice and qualifying to change things. They still couldn't find speed. And the thing with Kyle Busch this week, like, he's very safe. He's a very safe guy starting 31st. I just don't know if he can actually get up in the top 10. Very good track record here, and that's probably, a big part of why he's shown up in so many lineups. Top 10s or top 11 in 15 of the last 17 races here. Don't forget, though, and I don't remember if anything happened. I can probably look this up real quick. He was 25th here last fall, which is a very off race for him. I'm pulling up. If you don't go to ifantasyrace.com, very good website, especially their asterisk report. I can never say that word. Asterisk mark report for Phoenix 2. I don't remember if Kyle Busch at Phoenix lap 275 running 12th. Busch spun, brought out the final caution, dropped him off the lead lap back to the mid 20s. He likely would have finished low double digits. So still had a driver rating of 68.8. He's lost his edge here at Phoenix. He went through that run there 2018 to 2020. He was right there with Harvick as probably the best here at Phoenix. One top 10 stage result in the next gen era. And That's a good point, Nick. Yeah, insanely low fall off. He did. And like I said, I'm lower on Kyle Busch than I should be, and I know that. I just don't make. Yeah, so his 5 to 10 lap fall off was. Blaney had good fall off there. Yeah, and his 5 to 15 fall off was. So did Elliott between those two, but I think part of that's also because they weren't super fast, if I remember right. Yeah. Difference in 5, but was that because Bell and Hamlin were so much faster in 5 lap though? And that's why their fall off happened like that. That's what I'm kind of looking at. I agree he had very, very good fall off time. Yeah. I'm with you. I'm just wondering if it wasn't the slow 5 lap, because his 5 lap was 29th fastest in regards to Kyle Busch, and Chase Elliott's was 25th. So, you have that aspect of Dylan was similarly slow in 5 lap and fell off way more in 15. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not super high on Rowdy. I should be higher on Rowdy, but I'm not really getting there today yet. I may have missed your response earlier on this, but any thoughts on Truex Jr.? I feel like he was incredible last year. Not a diehard fan, but seems to be good. So I didn't realize until I saw a tweet earlier this week, he hasn't had a top 5 finish in like 16 races, 17 races. Truex in the next gen era, 1 lap led at Phoenix, and that he started second last fall, led 1 lap, finished 6th. Other finishes 17th, 15th. There's just so many more people I like than Truex this week. I mean, I like Bell and Logano so much more than Truex, and I don't see a lineup where I'm putting 2 of the 3 or all 3 on it. So I'm not quite getting to Truex, and he just, I don't know. I feel like he's fallen off with this next gen car at Phoenix, but I mean, obviously Gibbs is fast this week, so you can't really ignore that. But I'm not there on Truex today. I'd definitely rather go Bell, and I'd definitely rather go Logano. Like I said, Logano qualifies top 5. We're talking about him as a race winner, and now we're getting the place differential, and people are kind of talking less about him when he was so good in practice. Logano, like, he did struggle last year, but I'd rather go Logano or Bell, obviously. Bob Hockrest posted a picture of play stop rating that's different than the starting lineup. Do you put much thought into that? And I hope my question makes sense. Pit stop placement that's different than, so pit box placement. Teams get to pick their pit boxes based on where they qualify. I'm assuming this is what you're talking about. So pole sitter Hamlin, he gets the first choice of pit stall. Ty Gibbs, they get the second choice of pit stall wherever they want. And it kind of depends, some teams have preferences on where they want their pit stall at, 95% of the time, maybe even 100% of the time, the pole sitter picks the number 1 pit stall. And that's a huge advantage here at Phoenix. But yeah, so the starting lineup doesn't go by, or the pit box choices don't go by starting lineup, just like 1, 2, 3, 4. Teams actually get to pick them after they qualify. So it's you'll see where like Hamlin will be pit box number 1. I can probably pull this up real quick. I honestly haven't looked a ton into it. But then they'll pick the gaps. So they have a gap in front of them or behind them, depending on like the highest, the highest or where they qualify. So yeah, Hamlin's in pit box 1. Gibbs picked I should look at Pogress's picture because it has names on it. Yeah, so Gibbs picked pit box number 6, has the opening in front of him. And then Chase Elliott qualified 3rd. Honestly, kind of surprised that Buescher got the very last the incoming pit stall. Actually kind of think that maybe helps him a little bit. You remember, like, speeding penalties have been an issue here at Phoenix. There was 10 speeding penalties in the spring race last year. There were 7 speeding penalties in the fall race. If you had that number 1 pit stall, or the first pit stall coming into pit road, you're probably going to be woed down enough to just get in and get your pit done. So that's another thing. Someone brought up earlier Hamlin and his speeding penalties. Yeah, Phoenix has been known for speeding issues as well. I love that. Holy Kirkwood. I think he made like 8 spots on the start. Let's go. Man, if any of you, I'm sure of all the people in here, that quite a few of you listen to Stacking Denny's, Nick and I's podcast, and Nick is the biggest Kyle Kirkwood fan in the world. We both have bets on him this week, as do a lot of my friends. So Kyle Kirkwood goes and wins. I'm going to be very happy. And if Chastain wins, I'm very high on Chastain. Blaney and Chastain build today. I'm not quite getting there on Blaney. Love Chastain. Chastain is my favorite pick today. Honestly, with my projections, you run it through an optimizer and it's spitting out Chastain 100% of the time. But Blaney, like, obviously he has the place differential. He just doesn't have the dominator for me. I'd rather jump down, save $1,200 and go Bell, or come down even further, or $700 and get Hamlin and get that dominator potential. Blaney, very good here, but 11,200 at Phoenix with how everybody else ended up in qualifying and where the price of these place differential plays go this week with this race. I'm not sure you need to stuff Blaney in there. Like, I haven't projected high, and you can't go wrong with Blaney at Phoenix. And obviously, like, it's not a no-brainer, but it's like, hey, he's starting 16th and he should have a top 5 car. You should go with him. I can't really get to a lineup where I'm saying I love the Blaney build, unless you're getting off of like Chastain, and I don't want to do that today. So because to me, if you're going Blaney Chastain, I think you have to go Hamlin, because you're really relying, like Chastain and Blaney, you're hoping get up there later to lead. So if you're going Hamlin there, you're already down to 6,433 for your last 3 drivers. So even if you go Cindric, I think it forces you to dip below that 6,000 range, because you're not going to go like Nemechek and Gregson. Stenhouse is not great at Phoenix. Like, to me, this would be forcing it too much, unless you take, Hamlin off and you come down to a Gibbs or something. And I mean, I guess you could do that if you go Gibbs, but I'm not loving this type of build particularly much at all. Maybe like if you throw Reddick on there, oh, that sucks. If you could have got Barry, I wouldn't hate that lineup if you could get Barry in there with Gibbs. But then you have Reddick, Gibbs, Blaney, Chastain. If you cut down and grab, see, there's nobody I like under Cindric. That's my problem today. Unless you go Zane Smith, but I don't love Zane Smith either. Maybe I should like Zane Smith. I liked him last week, and that seems to be what happens. Is I really like a driver one week, he kills me, and then the next week he crushes. Yeah, because you go Zane Smith there, gives you 76. You can get up to Bowman, you can get up to Swart. Man, if you could get Bubba in this lineup, this is what's frustrating. Those little $100 that can't get you where you particularly want. I don't know if Byron has the Dominator to get there. Man, that's frustrating. Do you mess around and grab Hemrick there though? And hope that it's hard to pass and Hemrick stays on the lead lap and sneaks in a team's finish. And that Gibbs, gets the early Dominator from Hamlin, Chastain, Blaney, Reddick, all do their thing, get up there, and then Bubba, obviously. If you believe in Gibbs, yeah, Matt, I hear you. Pricing, yeah, there's definitely situations where pricing comes into play. Those little $100 increments. Oh, just to have a Blaney lineup, though, I'm going to throw this one in there. Blaney, Chastain. Yeah, this doesn't have Bell or Hamlin, so I'm not like particularly in love with it, but we'll throw it in there. We'll see how it does. Hemrick and Ty Gibbs. Yeah, you're welcome. Glad you could learn something when it comes to pit boxes. Yeah, there's actually like a strategy to where like that strategy comes into play too when it comes to pit selection. Any small things that these teams can look at to have to get an advantage or potentially get an advantage. Let's see here. I don't have a single Logano lineup, so let's change that. I showed my optimal before. Again, this is, to me, it's two place differential heavy. $100 off from switching out Bell for Hamlin. So here's the decent one, I think. Again, though, you're really relying on Reddick as an early dominator, and it's hard to get off of Hamlin here. Maybe this is I like this for place differential, but there's so many other ways you could go here that I like the other builds better than that. Let me force Hamlin in here. So if you start with Hamlin, you go Christopher Bell. Bubba Wallace. Throw Cindric in there. Nemechek, Chastain. We've had this lineup before. I know that. And then, yeah, you can go up to Briscoe. You can come down to Suarez if you'd like, or Bowman. I'm just seeing how we could get to cut Chastain off, come down to Reddick, and give me Buescher. So Hamlin, Bell, Reddick, Buescher, Nemechek, and Cindric. Logano, Hamlin. I'll throw this in here quick once this loads up. Hamlin, Logano, Chastain, Bubba, Priest. I'm not loving Priest, so we'll see what this looks like. Bubba, Priest. See, to me, I'd rather go. Wow, son of a bitch. I mean, yeah. Stenhouse. Yeah, Stenhouse is not very good here. I wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything with Stenhouse. 19th and 10 lap average, 26th and 15 lap average. If I'm going to go something like this, I'm probably going to jump down off of Cindric and maybe grab a Zane Smith. And Barry. I don't see going to Hemrick there. I was wondering where most of these viewers are coming from. So it looks like Twitter's getting a lot of them. Nice. Yeah, you could do that. Kurt, John Hunter Nemechek, and Austin Dillon. There's a couple ways you could go there. Oops, why'd I pick yeah. Hamlin, Logano, Chastain, Bubba Wallace, Austin Dillon, and John Hunter Nemechek. Sprinkling any Elliott. No. Because to me, Hamlin, most likely dominator. And then Chastain, Bell. I think Reddick's up there as well. Maybe if you have the cap to maybe pivot off of Reddick, you could get up to Chase, but I don't see Chase having the car. He probably has a car to run and stay up there in top 5, but I don't see him dominating, which is what you kind of need with that. And I'm saying stay up there in top 5 for early in the race. I think he's going to slide back as the race goes on. So not really high on Elliott today. Oh yeah, NASCAR is the best sweat sport in anywhere. It is so exciting when you have a bet that's about to hit or DFS lineups going well, because like especially DFS, it's it's not great to say, but they can go. I've had this happen. Charlotte a few years ago, I was winning like 15 grand with 2 laps to go, 3 laps to go, and a caution came out and just it didn't kill my day, but it definitely ruined what I was winning. There is no it's a double-edged sword because it's fun, but it's also nerve-wracking. Like there's been times where I've Darlington a few years ago, I fell asleep. It was the race that ended at like 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. or something. And and I fell asleep during it and woke up and saw that I crushed DFS, and I was like, that was actually kind of nice. Not, you know, not being worried about it and just waking up and it's over. So definitely, yes, it is. NASCAR is a fun sport when it comes to betting. I know people like to say they can't stand watching racing and it's too boring. To me, NASCAR, like the sport itself has exciting moments. There's obviously moments that are also boring. Um, but it's a good Sunday afternoon, chill on the couch, drink a few beers, and if you have money on it and you're potentially winning money or uh, doing well in DFS, it is a lot of fun. So that's what I always tell my friends. I'm like, or if you're at a bar, you're having a Sunday fun day and NASCAR's on TV and you have a bet, it's fun to just pay attention to and hopefully you win. And yeah, it's one of those sports. Yeah, I can understand, like I completely understand why people say that they can't stand to sit there and watch it. That I can understand how this stuff can be extremely boring if you're not into it at all to sit there and watch racing. But overall, especially with money on the line, I mean, it's the same reason we watch, you know, Monday Night Football when it's 42-7. It's because you have the over at 55.5 and you're rooting for one more touchdown. Like sports betting, gambling makes everything more fun. So, oops, about to bust out some Luvabella mimosa. I should too. I got a couple bottles in my last shipment. That stuff's so good. Plus, it's a good Sunday drink. But I'm gonna stick to water for now. Yeah, very new to NASCAR. Love watching it. Sprinkle a few lineups. It's a great sweat. Absolutely. And it is kudos to you for, being very new to it, sprinkling a few lineups. This is not something that is particularly easy to understand and get, lineup building and game theory and everything with DFS right off the riff. Like it's not easy, I'll tell you that. So yeah, good for you. Hopefully, you're learning, you're paying attention to a lot of people out there. There's a lot of great information out there uh to work with. Yeah, everything going great till wreck kills line like Xfinity race yesterday. Yeah, I was following along on my phone. I was pretty busy last night. Didn't get to watch the Xfinity race. I saw Allgaier was leading and then blew a tire, and yeah, that is frustrating. That is super frustrating. Unless it helps you, obviously that stuff's frustrating. Um, but so gonna do a few more lineups here. Again, I like, Hamlin, Bell, Chastain, love those three. Obviously like um Bubba first place differential. Don't hate coming here grabbing Busher and then doing something like Cindric Chalk here, and then maybe a Zane Smith, or even like I'm kind of talking myself into Daniel Hemrick, and I don't like that at all. If I did want to get off Bell though here, come down and grab Logano, and then do a John Hunter Nemechek. Nemechek was top 5 speed in practice. Qualified, starting 19th isn't the most comfortable thing in the world for a $6,500 driver. But again, if it's hard to pass and he can maintain track position, stay on the lead lap, he has that Toyota. He can probably challenge for a top 15, which is really all you need out of that price range. So, Hamlin, Chastain, Busher, John Hunter Nemechek, Logano, and Cindric. Thanks, Nick. Yeah, I like that. Again, if you want to get off a Bell, I think Logano's a decent pivot here. And just for anybody that missed it, Hamlin, Logano, Chastain, Buescher. And really like this, you're looking at, you got the pole sitter for domination. You got Logano, who was fast in practice. And then you're flashing back to last fall. Chastain and Buescher had the two best cars last fall. Chastain definitely, Buescher, arguably, but they put up a ton of fastest laps. So yeah, I like that. I like this lineup right here. And even if you wanted to get off of Logano, come down to Kyle Busch, you could do that. You could run this same lineup, Kyle Busch instead of Logano. And again, I'm not super high on Kyle Busch today, but I want some exposure here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get off Logano, come down to Kyle Busch. And there's so many ways. Like, you can come off here, come off at Nemechek, and come to Austin Dillon. If you like Kyle Busch, you should like Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon's track record's good here. Kyle Busch's track record's good here. If they fix something, quote unquote, because they were decently slow in practice and qualify, if they fix something between that and they actually have race speed, you should like both cars. Obviously, Nemechek, we've talked extensively, but I'm gonna, with that $300 savings off Logano going Kyle Busch, I'm gonna go Austin Dillon with this lineup instead. And obviously, like, I could just put all these in if I wanted to. Lock that one in. F1 is a joke. Verstappen wins every race. NASCAR is better than F1. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion about it. It is what it is as far as Verstappen to me. To me, I like just for fun, I'll like throw in a Verstappen win with my NASCAR outright parlay just to boost the NASCAR odds a little bit, because I feel like and obviously long term that is a very dumb strategy. I would not recommend anybody do that, because Chastain or Verstappen at minus 400, minus 350 is not long term value. But just for a little fun on race weekends, I don't mind doing a parlay like that. But no, I can honestly, I probably watched a couple. I haven't really watched F1 races, but I've paid attention to them, and I don't. It is what it is. Oops. Logano, Hamlin, Chastain, Suarez. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, if you want to get. Yeah. That also gets you off. So, yeah, love getting low on Suarez in with chalk Berry. Plus, you're getting off the chalk of Cindric compared to a lot of lineups. I like that. I do. I'm putting that one in here. Gives me some more Logano exposure. Again, love Christopher Bell this week, but I'm fine getting off of him entirely. You could also, if you liked Austin Dillon, you could come down off of Austin Dillon there, or off of Suarez, grab Austin Dillon, and then go up to Bell with this. What was I doing? Bell, Chastain, Suarez, Berry, Nemechek. I honestly probably don't have enough Josh Berry. Right now, I only have 3 lineups with him in it. Yeah. Great way to differentiate when eating chalk. Yep. Put this one in quick and analyze it. For some reason, I don't know, my brain just doesn't work right when I read it. I have to have it in the actual DraftKings interface here, and then I can fully analyze it. I don't know why. Hamlin, Busch, Chastain, Reddick. I mean, just, yeah. Is that the one we just put in? Hamlin, Chastain, Kyle Busch. No, I had Buescher in that one, didn't I? Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Chastain, Reddick. Yeah, I like that. I do. Chastain, Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Reddick, Nemechek, and Cindric. I'm landing on a lot more Nemechek than I thought I would coming into today. I'm not mad about it. Got about 5 lineups left. If you have any more questions, make sure you put them in here. A lot of great discussion today. Thanks everybody that's in here talking. This is when it's fun. You know, typically these streams last for about an hour, but I could probably still, I could go on for a while here. It's always fun talking about this stuff. Let's look at, so let's do it. What about this? Hamlin, Logano, Busch. Just want to see where I'm at with this. Throw on the Cindric. I haven't touched Priest today. Priest honestly was not bad last year. This is pure place differential outside of a like if you're thinking Hamlin dominates this race and you really want to get off, I don't recommend this at all. Like no Chastain, no Bell. I have Reddick projected quite high. No Reddick on here. But if you like this type of build, if you think Hamlin absolutely dominates this race like Larson did last week at Las Vegas, and then you get the place differential of Logano, Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace. Not in love with this lineup, but I like it. Yeah, Priest drove both races here for Stewart-Haas last season, 12th and 14th. Started 25th in the first race, finished 12th. And if you can afford it to get, like, I like Austin Dillon, obviously. If you don't like Austin Dillon as much, Priest is a decently good pivot. Maybe even safer. I don't even know if you'd call Priest safer. I like Stewart-Haas a lot at Phoenix, so I would almost call it safer than Austin Dillon. RCR has just been so garbage this week. I don't like it. But honestly, I was looking at the spring race last year, and Kyle Busch was awful in the spring race last year practice. And still did decent in the race. So, you know, maybe that happens again. Hamlin, Logano, Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Austin Cindric. What am I missing here? Oh. Still got quite a few watchers here. Thanks, everybody. If you're not subscribed, make sure all of my content, all of my premium content is available at rotoballer.com. Use code Jordan24. You're going to get 25% off when you sign up for my NASCAR package. In addition to my premium content, I, provide a lot of great news articles coming out about NASCAR, general DFS advice, overall, a lot of great content. And of course, check out my podcast co-host, Stacking Denny's podcast co-host, Nick Giffen. Make sure you check out his stuff over at Fantasy Labs, Action Network. All of our bets are tracked on the Action app. A lot of great NASCAR info out there. So make sure you check around and really absorb everything. So there's a lot of analysis that can be done. Not one person is always right. I feel like this is going to be a huge multi-way chop kind of day. I unfortunately agree. I do think, as far as the big GPP goes, yes, there's just certain builds that are most likely. I think there's a way that you can differentiate off of those most likely builds, but yeah, it's going to be a tough day in terms of taking one down. I like high dollar contests for those small pivots, and I'm a high dollar guy anyway. I've never really been a big GPP guy, and definitely not like the big one. Like I'll play the mini max just to practice building 150 lineups and my strategy there, but I've always been high dollar, those type of contests, smaller field contests. That's where I've really made my money over the years. So I try to stick with those. And that obviously has backlashes as well. I've had downright awful weeks in DFS, but that's one thing. Check if I have any. I got some Twitter notifications here. Checking those quick. Yeah, Priest is solid at tire management. Let's see here. Let's see what my exposures are at here. So I got 1, 2, 3. I got 5 lineups left. I'm at out of 15 lineups, I have 13 with Hamlin on them, 12 with Chastain on them. I only have 6 with Bell on them. Again, I can talk myself out of Bell this week. I don't particularly like that. 7 with Bubba Wallace on them, 8 with John Hunter Nemechek, 9 with Cindric, 6 with Bell, 6 with Reddick. I only have 4 with Logano. Do I have any with Hamlin, Bell, and Logano? No, I do not. So let's do that. Let's do Hamlin, Bell, Logano. Gonna have to come down here in the low dollar range. Probably grab a Cindric. Cindric, Nemechek, Suarez. Doesn't quite get me where I want. I think if I'm going to do that, I'd rather just dig deep into like a Hemrick. I don't love Keselowski this week. That's the problem. And I'm not going lower than Hemrick. I'm not dipping down to Justin Haley. To me, Keselowski doesn't have the upside of Buescher. So get me off of Logano here. And let's go down to Bell or Kyle Busch. Yeah. Hamlin, Bell, Kyle Busch. Cindric, Hemrick, and Reddick. New people in this really like Priest Contrarian lines. I do. And I almost like the Priest Contrarian off of Barry. Because Barry's the no-brainer play, and I don't think I think I'd rather save that cap and go with a Priest. Not that Barry doesn't have the upside, but just as a general like game strategy play and pivot play, I don't mind going Priest over Barry. Which I really don't have a lot of Barry in my lineups today. But for those that are new here, going back to where we started at. I really like Hamlin, Bell, Chastain, Bubba. I think is a very good place to start. Obviously, Cindric's a little chalky this week as well, starting 34th. Routed out with Nemechek. It's kind of the main type of build that I'm looking at this week, and then kind of pivoting off of that. I love Chastain this week. Bell, Hamlin should both contend for the win, and then Bubba is very fast as well. To get to it's like this, you could jump off of Bubba and come down to Suarez, and then grab a Priest, or go off of Suarez and come down to Barry. I don't mind this. Hamlin, Bell, Chastain, Suarez, Cindric, Priest. And again, you could go Barry there off of Suarez too if you wanted to. Like if you wanted to get the very high upside with Barry there. I think we just put this one in, if I remember right. Hamlin, Bell, Chastain, Bubba. Oh no, I haven't. So Chastain, Bell, Hamlin, Bubba Wallace, Josh Berry, and Daniel Hemrick. Again, I don't love Hemrick, but just maintain track position. And we'll be all right. He finished 17th, 2022, driving the 2311 car. Like he has a decent track record here. He was with Richard Childress Racing in 2019, finished 18th and 21st. Obviously not in this next gen car. But Hemrick, like he did win the Xfinity race, so like I could see myself having more than expected Hemrick if I need to. I don't feel like you need to drop down into that sub $6,000 range, but if you do, Hemrick I think is a decent play for the price, assuming he can maintain track position. So locking this lineup here: Hamlin, Bell, Chastain, Bubba, Josh Berry, and Daniel Hemrick. Like I said, if you wanted to pivot off of Barry, come down to Priest. Don't hate that at all. I might do that just to lock in one more lineup. I like that. I like the top four there, obviously. Come down to Priest and then grab Hemrick. Leaves you $300 to work with. Still liking Bubba there. Don't like getting off of Bubba. I was thinking about if you could get up to if you had an extra 300 to get up to Buscher, I don't mind it. We've already done the lineup with John Hunter Nemechek and Hemrick, I think, with Buscher there instead of Bubba. Yeah, so Hamlin, Chastain, Reddick. I don't hate this. Just looking at it, I know that because what did I miss? Suarez, Bubba, yeah. Actually, I like that quite a bit. Yeah, good call. Lock that one in here. Daniel Suarez and Ryan Preece. Excuse me. So yeah, if anybody else got any questions, throw them in the comments here quick. Otherwise, there's our 20 lineups that we typically do. Thanks to everyone that joined this live stream. Pay attention. Hopefully you learned something. We went quite a while today. Not mad about it. It should be a good race. Phoenix, interested to see what this package does with passing. If it's as bad as a lot of these drivers are saying, or if they're overall overreacting, like a lot of them do. But to me, I've always kind of enjoyed Phoenix racing, even though it is tough to pass. I've always enjoyed Phoenix. So not seeing any more comments roll in. So yeah, make sure if you like I said, rotoballer.com, sign up for my package, Jordan 24. You're going to get 25% off. All my content's there. And obviously check out Stacking Denny's podcast. Nick Giffen and I do it every week. Nick from over at the Action Network. And yeah, if you're not following me on Twitter, do that. Fan Racing Online. And other than that, all right, got one more question. Cash game with 7 friends. What's the best way to go? Let me get a blank slate here. I think I put a dummy lineup in this, so ignore that when it loads up. Yeah. To me, if you're in cash game, I think you're rolling Hamlin, Bell, Chastain, Bubba, Cindric, and John Hunter Nemechek. That's if I'm going cash game, that just with some buddies, that's what I'm going with. Not trying to get too cute. Hamlin, Bell, Chastain, to me, are the 3 favorites to win this race. Bubba showed great speed in practice. Should be a fringe top 10, if not better, car. So he's got that place differential. And then Cindric, chalk play back there. John Hunter Nemechek, you just need him to just need him to maintain track position or, finish mid-teens. And I think he can do that. Eric Jones has looked fast all weekend. Jones, I believe, looked fast in the test, if I remember right. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he did. So, yeah, if cash game 7 friends, this is the lineup I'm rolling with. I'm not really thinking twice about it. How about Blaney? Yeah, I talked about him. I like Blaney today. I think he can sneak up there and potentially win it. I think he could definite top 5. Like, this is his best racetrack for sure. He's got the place differential potential, but is he worth the 11,200? Honestly, I just built 20 lineups and I had 0 Blaney. I had 1 Blaney lineup and 0 Larson lineups. So despite the place differential with those 2 guys, I didn't get to him in DraftKings just because of where everyone else is at, where the pricing's at this week. I don't see Blaney getting into the optimal. So I'm staying away. He's projected quite high. I haven't projected quite high. I think the place differential is there. I don't think it's worth the price. I think you can go so many better ways. How much should you come off of Cindric for LaJoy? 85% Cindric. I honestly, like, I'm not big on LaJoy. Obviously 85% Cindric is a ton, and anything happens to him, you're going down with the ship because most people are having Cindric. So if you want to get a little more spread out and a little safer with your exposures, I'd probably go down. I'd probably cap it at about 60-65% Cindric. LaJoy's just not good here, whereas Cindric can actually showed speed in practice, and he's actually decent at Phoenix. He's not great, but and maybe I'm overreacting on LaJoy, but that could be one of those small pivots. Like we talked about those small pivots because a lot of people are going to be on Cindric over LaJoy. I'll tell you that. Feel like I'm ending up with way too much John Hunter Nemechek. Just don't like much below him besides Cindric. I agree. I ended up on more John Hunter Nemechek on this stream than I thought I would. But I also am not overly concerned about it because Nemechek, unless he wrecks, I think he's going to be able to maintain that track position. I think he has speed in that car to actually, move up. So don't hate it. Can we get another big win today? Won $459 last week and it was 3.9 points from winning the top prize in a $4 contest. Hey, it's all about building that bankroll, Bill. It's all about building that bankroll. Doesn't matter if you chop it like that. Still, it's a hell of a way to start the season, isn't it? I like that we started Vegas off with a bang because that was the first, predictable race of the season. Daytona's not predictable. Atlanta, a little bit more predictable than Daytona, but still quite unpredictable. So hitting Vegas like we did last week, very happy with where that's at. I'm feeling really good about Phoenix today. I really am. So that's where I'm at with it. Good luck. Hopefully we continue this. Yeah, let's go. Give about another minute for more questions. Other than that, I'm going to hop off here. I still got all of my lineups to build. Haven't quite finalized those though. I like to talk it out like this and kind of get where in the end I want to get with my lineups before I do it. Obviously I get my projections and my articles up on after qualifying, but I really like to take that time to take some time to finalize everything. But sounds like that's going to be it. So good luck to everybody today. Enjoy the race at Phoenix. Next weekend we have Bristol. The stream might be a little bit earlier next week for Bristol than it has been. I have something going on next Sunday, so might be a little bit earlier, but we'll be back next week talking Bristol. Yeah, as a chat. Yeah, Chastain. I hope Chastain wins today. I think he's going to be super strong. I'm a big fan of Chastain today. Like I said, first bet I made as soon as lines dropped. Like Caesars didn't even. I think I was one of the first people to see Caesars lines drop. Like it was just dumb luck that I opened the app and they were the first to drop because they dropped before Superbook today, which is not typical for Caesars. Usually Superbook sets the line, but Caesars dropped first this week. They had Chastain 12-1. I told myself before looking, like before any lines dropped, I said if Chastain's above 10-1, I'm betting him, not thinking. So I love Chastain's long run car today. I think he definitely has a chance to win. I got my Trackhouse shirt on too, so that's probably good luck. Although last week I couldn't find my Larson shirt, so maybe it's not good luck. But speaking of good luck to everybody today in DFS in their bets. Yeah. Good luck, everyone. See you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate all of you.